Welcome to the Divine Mess, a sanctuary where the dance of the empowered masculine and the divine feminine unfolds in all its glory. Join us as we delve into the heart of these cosmic energies, exploring their attributes and the profound impact they have on our lives. From the raw power of the masculine to the nurturing embrace of the feminine, we uncover the balance that leads to a life of abundance and joy. Our hosts, Kurti Deva Perriman and Tina Ryan, are your guides on this spiritual journey who blend science with soul to offer practical wisdom for harnessing your divine energy. We celebrate the beauty and imperfection, embracing the chaos of life's journey as a catalyst for growth. The Divine Mess isn't just a podcast, it's a movement towards wholeness and self-expression. So come laugh with us, cry with us, and grow with us. Every episode is an invitation to explore the depths of your being and to live out loud, authentically, and unapologetically. Subscribe and join our community of seekers as we support each other in this extraordinary, messy adventure we call life. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you happen to be joining us. Welcome to the Divine Mess. If this is the first time that you are tuning in, my name is Tina Marie and I'm an intuitive prophet, and I help people through transformation, if I can get my words out this morning, to see the divine light of their true souls. And as always, I am joined by my gorgeous co-host, Mr. Kurti Deva Perriman, the cosmic alchemist at the Golden Temple, and I'm sure he will give you a little bit of a rundown. And for those who are coming back, this is not your first time, welcome back to the Divine Couch, and it's going to be another fun episode as always. So over to you, Mr. Perriman.
Thank you, Tina. And for those listening, it's our first recording of this year, 2025, at the time of the recording. And it's great to start the year. We started a bit later than usual, but it's good to have that break, I feel, like to step back and to reflect. And for those joining us, well, by the time of recording, it's only 10 days that's gone of the year. And not much, not many, out of the 365. But I feel like every single year we do that dance, like at the end of the year, we reflect and say we're going to take action. And that's what we've been talking over the past week, I feel, discussing like what has been letting go, what is no longer serving us. And that's what we want to dwell in today is like about that spiritual awakening. Because as you know by now, if you're recurrent listeners, we are into the woo-woo stuff. And even as coaches, we do go into that. We do go into the spiritual awakening, and every person it manifests, I feel differently. There are some similarities, and if you're in the spiritual community, you will see talking about, for example, headaches, migraines, back pain, chest pain, whatever it is. It's like the body is upgrading, and it's not only physical, but you feel it. Like for me personally, it's like the bone is like growing again. It reminds me of the teenagers when you're growing up, like and uh, and it's like that feeling, but it feels like your body are being teared apart, and every cell is being upgraded during that process. And there are different kind of awakening that we are talking about. But for me, it's like how you change the world, like how the perspective of how you view the world changes. In these moments, you are like more detached from everything that's happening around you. It's become like, well, it's like you're floating. It's like that sensation that you're floating and you're seeing everything from that mountain top perspective, but it's higher than that. And you start seeing that everything that's happening for you and not to you, and you start understanding those concepts more. But part of the spiritual awakening is about letting go. And the word, our favorite word for the past couple of years is surrender to the process, which we're still learning to do. We're still learning how to navigate that. Because even when you read about others, like about others, how they are going it, you can resonate with some part of it, but not everything, because each one we have our own journey. And spiritual awakening is a messy journey. It's a messy process, but it's worth it. And every single time we go through, we ask the universe to make it easier next time, which is not. It never happens. It never ever happens that it becomes easier with time. It's just your resilience to it change, I feel. Your resilience, and you can guide people who are like new to it. You're like, oh, that's okay. And like you're just going for a spiritual awakening. And you know how much people love when you say, oh, that's okay. Whatever you're going through is okay. It's great. Then you can flip the finger to your friend and say, yeah, you can say surrender, and they don't like it at all. They're not in that mood. And it's just part of the process. But I feel like every single time there was a spiritual awakening from my perspective and in my life, in this lifetime, there was a deep sense of everything is going to work out. It's just one day, it's just one week, or maybe sometimes it's 2 weeks. It does depends on which part of your body is getting upgraded. For me, I focus on the chakras, so I can notice like which upgrade is happening, especially the throat and the solar plexus were the main one for the past couple of years, I would say. For me, now I can see like it's moving up, so that's a great sign for me. I was like, okay, cool. So it's just like the third eye, and only that, like nothing much, nothing much. Um, but you get used to that. But the great thing is when you have someone that can speak the woo-woo stuff, and they are going through that same, and you're like, yep, I know. And that's why I have a co-host who has been experiencing that for a few days in terms of the human 3D world. But in terms of her, I'm sure the 3D seems like 30 years maybe of releasing, and that's how it feels. And I know she will jump in to share about how she went through that, and we can go back and forth on our experiences on that.
Yeah, I think so. I know for myself, and if you've listened to previous episodes, December was a massive month in terms of um, learning and deep diving into reasons behind behaviors and relationships, and why we call certain relationships into our lives and what they're teaching us. And basically, it boils down to love. It's learning to love who you are in this go around, even when you are going through a upgrade, I think is a nice way of putting it. And I certainly had one of those last week. Got a stomach bug, as most people would term it, and all I kept thinking about was, when your body's cramping up and you're so tired and you're so lethargic and all of those things, you're going, it's okay, because this is renewal and it's change and it's releasing things that I've possibly held on to for 50 years, but it's at this point that they go, okay, we're done. You don't need to hang on to us anymore. So it was an interesting concept in not trying to avoid taking pharmaceuticals, because in the end I didn't, but going, if I just let go, does do the stomach cramp stop? Does the thought of wanting to hug my toilet on a regular basis, does that then cease? If I am resistant to the process, how much longer does it take? Or if I go, okay, this is where I'm at, nothing I can do to change it. I'm just going to go, okay, well, I'm happy to get rid of whatever you need to, having conversations with my body. These are, if this is what you need to do, and if this is what you need, okay, let's do it. But it was the complete body aches of a night time and trying to sleep is when, in the middle of the night, you just go, okay, just a little bit of something just to kind of take the edge off so I can go to sleep. And I mean, when we're not talking anything major, we're talking a little bit of ibuprofen, which is probably more than what I should have taken, but it was just enough. But the thing that amazed me coming out the other side is that it gave me an opportunity to go, okay, well, if this happened to me again, how could I set myself up to be in a position where I'm not having to stress and worry about, I'm not at work, I don't have sick leave owing to me. How can I make money? Or how can I generate income for myself? So it led me on a whole discovery rabbit hole. And then the following day was feeling very creative. So AI and I became good friends for the day, and I just sat at the table and opened myself up to new possibilities and asking questions in a different way instead of going, how can I pay to do something? Like, for example, how can I find the funds to travel? Instead of asking, then I started asking questions. How can I get paid to travel? How can I, I started flipping the same conversations that I'd have with myself and going, oh, that's, when it comes to that money story where you attach a label to a desire, that it makes it out of reach. So then it was like, well, how can I get it for free? How can I do it differently so that, I can go and do all these things without necessarily having to fork out of my own pocket. AI came up with some interesting suggestions in terms of becoming a travel blogger, and I'm going, okay, well, that's interesting. And it suggested to me that getting flights for free might be a little bit of a stretch. But it did suggest to me that, perhaps I look for a role that includes travel as part of my bonus structure, should we say, which I'm looking into at the moment. So it just posed some very interesting questions, but I think it's the first time with being ill that I've just laid back and allowed the process to happen. And just going, okay, no point fighting it. No point trying to rush the process through either, in going, oh my God, I've got to get back to work tomorrow. I've got a sick day. I'm like, no, I'm not rushing this process because there's going to be good that comes out of it. I don't know what the good coming out of it will be yet. Or, does it mean by going through this process, it's easier for us to find a larger home? Is it easier for me to start in a new role? Does it mean my relationship looks different? Does it mean I can communicate better with my kids? Like, I have no idea why I went through the process, but I'm sure there's really good reasons for it. But in speaking of going through those processes, I was listening to, now I can't remember what her name is, and she was talking about fasting and the body's ability to heal itself after.
Mindy Peltz, Dr. Mindy Peltz.
Yeah, that's her. Talking about the body's ability to naturally heal itself from that 72-hour window up to 5 days. And she was talking about in the podcast, I think, Know Thyself. She was talking about it, that she had this recurring ankle injury, I think she was saying, because she's an avid runner. And she said she just wanted to test her own theories, in that she went, okay, well, I can do 3 days. If I stretch it to 5, will my body heal itself? And she said after 3 days, the pain in the ankle started to dissipate. And by 5 days, she said she had no more pain. So it's interesting when we allow our bodies to go through a process where we're removing an element, like you do when you get a stomach bug, you remove food completely. And it's really changed my concept on what I eat. And now listening to her and going, maybe we don't need to eat as much as what we think we do. And by eating the amount of food that we are eating, what are we ignoring by shoveling? It doesn't matter whether it's 3 square meals a day or whether you're in between, you're snacking in between, or you're drinking 5 cups of coffee a day, or you're a bottle of wine a night type person. I've just learned over this last week that coffee and we're kind of having a little bit of I'm not sure about you yet. Alcohol and I are having a little bit of a hiatus from one another at the moment. Like I had a drink the other night and I was like, oh, that's disappointing. Like it didn't give the relief at the end of the day I was expecting. I don't know, like I was in 2 minds about having it, but I had it anyway, when I really should have listened to my body just going, just get yourself a tonic water and lime instead of ordering a gin and tonic. And then for food, for me, it's just keeping it really, really simple in the mornings. I'm not eating a lot during the day, whereas I used to consume a lot of food. And even now, like meal times for me I'm not eating massive amounts of food, and probably concentrating on eating more fruits and vegetables than I have before. So there's something going on, and my body's asking for things that are a little bit different. So I'm just playing the game at the moment to sort of see where it leads me, and just experimenting with things and trying to keep it as simple and as natural as possible. But that's kind of been my learning out of this last week, is that I don't need to consume as much. We all get kind of jumped into, and like last Christmas, my whole thing was I was at the gym and I was pumping weights 5 days a week and shoveling an incredible amount of food into my body, and I liked the results. But when you're not keeping at that level of exercise and you're still consuming that amount of food, then your body does weird and wacky things. And I didn't like that. So it's probably been a good thing to be ill, to kind of cleanse the system, so to speak, and then start back again and going, I think this is the biggest thing, that none of us actually ask our body what it wants. Like, how does that feel? Or we don't give it enough time to sit and feel, or even when you first wake up in the morning, just be. Like, and be able to feel your energy in your body and going, that feels a little bit tweaky there. Oh, okay, that feels real. Or it feels real, you wake up and you feel like a puppy and you're all buzzing and excited and ready to go for the day. It's been an interesting reconnection over the last month, of just kind of just 5 minutes, just laying there and sort of seeing where it all moves, and then having a little bit of a gratitude practice, just for 3 things. Like, just pick 3 things that you kind of go, yep, this is what I'm grateful for. And also to move through how you feel that your day may unfold. And just going, oh, this is a possibility, and this is a possibility, and okay, let's see what unfolds. Instead of, most of us wake up and go, oh shit, I've got to do this, and you get this busy brain thing going on. Instead of just easing into your day, we almost go on this hamster wheel of automatic get up, press the button on the coffee machine, stumble in, have a shower, get dressed, come out, drink our coffee, don't have any breakfast. We just kind of get into this routine. But what happens if you change your routine up? And since I've been sick, changing my routine up is I get up, go to the bathroom, scrape my tongue, because I've got this real weird obsession with Ayurveda and it's a thing. And then getting on the mat. And I just open YouTube. I just pick either how much time I've got. I've got 20 minutes or I've got 30 minutes. Do a routine. Then either 10 minutes or 20 minutes of meditation. And the difference it makes to the start of my day. I'm chilled. I'm relaxed. Nothing seems to, of course, as your day goes on, it's like, you have ups and downs, but at least you're starting your day in a way that supports whatever's to come. It gives you an opportunity to kind of give yourself, even if it's 10 minutes and 10 minutes, you've given yourself 20 minutes to just move your body, move your energy. If you're feeling a little bit stiff and sore, and trust me, my back and my hamstrings do not love me when I get on the mat first thing in the morning. They're cranky. But I have been having a little conversation with my 5-year-old and going, it's okay, Tina, I've got it. You can let go. Because all I get is this little vision of this little person just like, it's okay. And once we have this little conversation, movement tends to be a little bit easier. So it's the continuing conversation with the inner 5-year-old that it just makes the yoga a little bit easier to move through. And this morning I didn't dial anything up. It was a quick 5 minutes on the mat before I took my dogs for a walk. But I was like, I need to be outside today. So did that, took the dogs for a walk, came back, and then I was like, here we go. And then we get to talk about the things that we love to talk about. But how about you for a morning start to your day? Have you had changes in that with upgrades, so to speak, for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's constantly evolving. It's, like, because with each upgrade, it's like you find, oh, maybe I can add this to my routine. Maybe it will just make me feel better. Also, for me, I noticed that it's all about blending the practices. So whatever practices I learn over time, I combine it. And uh, I feel it's becoming my own practice in that way. And it's more fun according to me. So it's about finding what works for you. So for example, is if I'm doing like energy, like chakra cleansing, I can add the Ho'oponopono in the background. So at the same time, it's like I'm using Ho'oponopono, the 4 phrases, Hawaiian prayer, and with each chakra, I'm just cleansing it. So I'm doing it, especially I notice during spiritual awakening or spiritual upgrades, that's what I do. That's what I focus. It's like I have a YouTube playlist, which is titled Spiritual Awakening. So I just go to that list and just put it on. So for me, sound healing is a major one during the upgrades. sound healing, mantras is a big one as well, is another one. Because I'm clairaudient, so I feel it resonates with my sound healing is a big one to help me heal. But I would like to go back a few points on what you shared because there was a story that came up when we were sharing about traveling, like traveling free. So there was in the book Cosmic Energizer by Joseph Murphy, there's a story there that there was one girl similar to you, like who wanted to travel free. And she came to Joseph Murphy and say, look, I want to travel free. I don't know how to. I want to travel the world, see the world freely, but I'm getting paid for it. Like people are paying me to do that. I don't have to pay anything. And then Joseph Murphy gave her like a specific prayer type of thing, like affirmation and visualization type of technique. And within a week, she, she would, I think at the time she was working as the assistant to a businessman or something. And then someone came in and they were talking about travel, and the lady said, "Oh, you know what? I think she wanted to go to Yugoslavia at that time. That's the country name." And she was like, "Oh, I wanted to go there." And the lady said, "You know what? I'm going there in 1 week. Would you like to come as my assistant? And it's fully paid." And she got it, and she started doing that. Like she started doing traveling the world freely
Mm.
because people are paying her to assist them, but it's not like a job as such because that's it was specific as about that
Yeah.
because apparently one person dropped out of the group and it was already paid, and so she just jumped in. So my take on that is like you have hope. There's
Oh,
hope. There's
absolutely.
even
Absolutely. Because
if
I'm asking the
AI
question, right?
even if AI is telling you, well, it's a bit of a stretch, we know in the quantum realm that it's not like in the spiritual. So that's what I was going back because that story keep coming to my mind to tell you that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
about that
Yeah.
because
We'll
I
just
feel
keep
like
working on it.
even like in the when you're getting those upgrades, even the way you speak to God or the way you speak to the universe, whatever you believe in, shift. There's a shift. There's a level of faith that increase, and maybe some moments you will doubt it. You're like, why is this happening to me? And
Mm-hmm.
then when you change that question, why is this happening for me? Then you get the answers. So like surrender to those questions during those times is really helpful as well. And for me, in terms of the spiritual awakening as well, what I notice is I become, because you were speaking about how last year, like you were eating more because you were training and there was a different type of goal then. And now it's like your body is not responding to certain type of food or even beverages. For me, I
Mm.
notice like it smell, like the smell or even of food. Like if I'm going in the supermarket during spiritual upgrade, is like in no no. So normally I have this, I order online to be delivered.
Yeah.
I make that kind of like I normally don't like that. I don't because I prefer to go on my own, like to enjoy that process of the shopping,
Yeah.
like choosing, like and get that feeling.
Mm.
But because it's like during that upgrade, I know how my body is, so I tend to avoid those spaces, and even like it's not avoiding people, but even certain energies, I just don't mingle there. I will take a huge step back and listening to your body. And like Dr. Mindy Peltz, she's becoming well known, I feel, about the fasting. There's one of my friends who did that 3 day, the 72 hour, and she was like, and she's like a like very scientific person, and she was like, oh, I don't think it's going to work. But after 72 hours, she was like, I don't even feel the need to eat. I don't even want to eat something, because I'm just feeling good. I'm have more clarity ever. There's no brain fog in the morning. And I'm just done like just because of the food or the quality of maybe of the food
Mm.
that I'm having, or even the type of, beverages, for example. And for 72 hours, she shared that the first 24 was quite intense. For her, the first eight, that was more intense. But then after that, she noticed on the second day, there were no more cravings. There was no more, like, oh, I need to have a snack bite or something. There was gone. But for her, the major was brain fog, gone completely in 72 hours. And that's what's amazing for her, like to achieve that. So I feel like what I realized for me personally is like, if I set it like, let's say, during a free day, I prepare for it. It's not like like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm starting it. I'm just doing it. It's like, you will just go back to the, and when you go back to that, it's like it get worse, like it's like an addiction kind of thing. So that's why I feel like diets sometimes, they work, but if you don't work on your mindset, on your limiting belief, you will go back. You will go back. So it depends on, for me, the diet is like not just the food. It's what are you consuming in terms of, watching, listening, your people surrounding you. Yesterday I was sent a quote, um, people around you can become your cage or your inner circle, like something like that. So sometimes people around you, because they see you doing the fasting, they can say, "Oh, what are you doing?" So sometimes keeping that private for you and then do your own experiment, like do your own experiment and then tell people about it. Like my friend, she did that, like she scientific background, she will like monitor every single thing and she will like come up with conclusion herself, right? And that's what I like with that. Like she found a way to do the fasting in her way. She was like, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to have, and what is like, no, no. So she designed it her own way, but it worked for her. So it's about, like in terms of fruit, for example, if you're going on a like just eating fruit, choose the one that you love. Don't choose the one that just because it was said, oh, it's good for your body. We know that. Yep, it's good for your body. But if you're not into that, it's what? Your mind is going to reject that food. It's like going, no, that's not for your body. It's not going to like it.
Mm.
But choose, for example, I'm just giving one example in terms of fruit. Choose the one that you love that's aligned with you, that your
Yeah.
body will be like getting excited, just the same excitement that you're getting when you're eating Tim Tam. That's a famous Australian, New Zealand
Cookie.
biscuit
Yeah.
cookie. Yeah. And you dip it in your tea or coffee. Like Tina
Certainly
love
not.
that.
So not.
But it's like same like with coffee as well. It becomes that dense because it's like that. Like we all have that. I say that those addiction in terms of weight because like some people they love to go to the gym, but some it's like Netflix. So you have a choice. It become like that healthy addiction way, even if
Yeah.
maybe it's not the right term, but that's how it is. You
Yeah.
can be addicted to like for us it's like personal growth because we are constantly consuming content, listening to other podcasts or listening to
Books.
like new books, new audio books. Like I finished the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and it's a total worth it for me. Like it's one of the best she wrote because it's
Mm.
very, like it's in term of the scientific background and her personal stories, and it's very helpful. And I feel like books are sent your way as well
Yeah.
at the right time. So if you feel like going for the book that you already read before, go for it. Like just go for it.
Yeah.
But from all of that, I'm saying like in terms of your spiritual upgrades or awakening, we each have our process. Like we learn from each moment what worked best for you, what's going to work best for me. Like for me now, I have that YouTube playlist, for example. Doesn't mean on the first day I will remember that. Most likely I won't. I will forget that. Then
Mhm.
yeah, it will happen that I will go on YouTube and then I will be like, oh yeah, there's my playlist. There you go.
Thank
And
you very much.
and then you will remember. But the first day or maybe the first hours, it's very different for each one of us. We do question a lot about our contract, what we sign in those moments.
Yes.
Um, but
We
we
make a
know,
lot of bargains too. I think all of
yes,
us do that in going, you know, when you bargain with your parents, like when you were a kid, I promise I'll be better and I promise I'll do this. You know, if you'll just make whatever stop, stop. Um, and I think it was probably the first time that I didn't make those bargains. It was like, okay, just get it done. You know, it wasn't pleasant, but it certainly wasn't, you know, I'd give anything if I was, because, you know, I've had to go through it for a reason. You know, the forced rest was incredibly lovely, but you do get sick of your bed after about day 3.
yeah,
Get really, really sick of laying, you know, because all of us go, oh my God, a John and Yoko lifestyle where we could just lay in bed and, you know, just be and have people bring me food and it's going to be amazing. No, nope, 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 nope. And like you say, you forget about things. And so you just laying there doing nothing, or you're kind of reading, or you don't really have much energy
yeah,
to do anything other than maybe watch a couple of movies or something.
yeah.
I watched the whole of the Avatar,
Uh,
not Avatar, Airbender.
oh yes, yes. The new one. The yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's a
So
good one to watch. I do have spiritual awakening movies that I will know that I will resonate in that time.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah. So
think
that
it's
was
like you said,
interesting.
your morning
And
routine set the tone. Your morning
yeah,
routine does set the tone for good.
absolutely,
Yeah.
1000%. And just like you say, find something that works for you. Like for my partner, he loves to run and swim and doesn't love the swim so much, but run and cycle. And he's just getting back into his routine, um, you know, and he's very dedicated to getting up and moving his body. And, you know, some of the stuff I share with him, I'm sure it raises his eyebrows, um, in going, maybe you don't need the coffee before you go on your cycle.
Mm,
Maybe, you know, just a suggestion. Just try and see how it, you know, it's your body, you do your own thing, right?
yeah.
Um, but it's interesting in how do we as parents, you know, because we're on a different trajectory to other people, but as parents, how do we bring that morning routine in for teenage boys when all they want to do is sleep? Mind you, very interesting when they're motivated to want to do something. It's one of our boys normally, notoriously, will sleep till lunchtime every day if you give him an opportunity. He was up at 7:30 the other morning because he was going somewhere with his friends. They were going to the beach and they were going to go fishing and doing all the stuff. And he's like, oh, why isn't dad up? And I said, like, mate, he's on his bike. He's probably about 50 k's away from home at the moment. He's been up for quite some time. So you've missed the boat on you've missed the boat on that one. But yeah, it's just all we can do at the moment. And as much as it's frustrating for us, is to lead by example. So all we can do is endeavor to live healthy lives and eat good food. And, you know, teenagers love processed stuff and their bodies handle it so much better than us more experienced humans. Um, so all we can do is just try and steer them and navigate them, not remove everything straight away. But it's interesting to, we're starting to have the conversation with them like beginning of the year. Okay, so what were the 3 best things from last year? So we've asked our youngest, what were the 3 best things from last year? what were the things that you took away from last year that maybe you don't necessarily want to repeat again, but they're teenage boys, they'll probably repeat it 10 times over. And this coming year, what is it that you would like to achieve, So, and for them, it's really simple. It's like a sporting achievement and a schooling achievement. Like there isn't these grand, it's them goal setting in infancy, whereas we write down infinite possibilities of, traveling for free all over the world, first class. Like, like we don't limit. Some people do when they write their goal sheets, but it's like, oh, well, if you're going to ask, you might as well ask for the good stuff. So it's an interesting exercise that this is the first year that we've done it with our kids. And then to talk about common goals as a family. So now that we're all together this week, is to talk about the common goals for the family for this year, and for us finding a larger home is a common goal for the family. So to get their thoughts and opinions on it, because if it's going to be a buy-in, we want everybody to buy into the process. So just giving them some ownership over stuff like that where they can have impact and influence. So little bit by little bit, hopefully we will help to create young men who know how to have conversations with themselves and develop their own morning routines, and navigating through this world feeling quite confident in themselves and who they are and their opinions over somebody else's. So it's interesting, all the learnings that we take away and that I have taken away probably over the last 6 weeks, the impact that it's had, not only to my kids, but also the people that I work with, and friends and people that you would think would kind of support the upgrade, where other people are like, no, I'm going to tune out from this one. And you're like, okay, I don't take personal offense to it anymore, whereas before it would be very much like a, they don't understand me, and if they're not going to be my friend, that sort of, it's like, okay, you do you. You do you in your own way, and that's great, but I'm going to keep moving on in this direction. So, if we manage to kind of reconnect as the paths cross again, well, then that's great as well. But it's more about who needs to hear what we have to say now. Who are the people who are looking for guidance and help about their morning routines, or the fact that they're continuously getting migraine headaches and going, what aren't you allowing? What are you trying to hang on to for, as long as humanly possible? You've got to let stuff go, and do the whole get comfortable with surrender. It's taken me a bloody long time, but we're becoming quite friendly. So I'm just like, okay, lead the way, show me how. And it's interesting, ask whoever you ask, whether it be your angels, whether it be God, whether it be Buddha, whether it be Ganesha, whoever your chosen person is, how can I be the best version of myself today? And then by doing so, where's it going to lead me? Show me the best that you've got, and see. And like for my co-host and myself, we are both clairaudient. So for us, it's not necessarily visual signs, but sometimes we get those as well. It's the lovely little voice in the ear that goes, call this person, or do this, or don't walk that way, or, and sometimes the signs are really subtle. So they're not going to be Vegas neon lights. They might be just the gentle, quiet whisper. You've just got to be listening and paying attention. So that is that is the game. That is the thing that we do every day. Enjoy it though. I think that's the biggest thing, is that, have fun with it, experiment, much like fasting, trying different foods, trying different physical movement. Experiment with the way in which you ask questions. Treat God like AI. How do you program? If you program the information this way, what's the result? If I ask God to show me a sign of a green feather, what do I get? Do I see a green bird? Do I see it on someone's hat? The possibilities are endless, but treat it like AI. Ask the question, see what you get. I think that's kind of it from me today.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful sharing about what you're living with your family, what you're going through with your family as well. And definitely, whatever you do, the kids see, and they will model. And it's like planting the seed. There's a lot of things that my parents did back in the days. I didn't understand, didn't get it at all. Now I get it. Now I understand. But it was like they were planting the seed uh, in that sense. So whatever you're doing, it's like you're planting the seed and like having that hopeful future and believing in that their future is bright with whatever values you're teaching them and the role model you're being, both of you, you and Cam, being to them, and that will definitely help them, like to grow into young men, like young, strong, emotional, uh, mature men, like that they can handle. It's about resilience, and I think like Mary Robbins was speaking about that in her book, the Let Them theory. She was saying like how, in a way, she contributed to her daughter's anxiety. And one day her therapist was telling her, you just have to back off. You just have to let her go through that phase. And I think the most beautiful thing he said was, you have to trust in the ability, like in their ability to overcome this. And I feel that that's absolutely brilliant. When you look at people and every person that you meet, that maybe you coach and you believe that they have the ability to overcome that, and like you nurture that ability, that's when they know they can, like, and she gives some steps, of course. And she says, like, I'm not telling you to let your kids, on the street. I'm not telling you like not to give them food and say, oh yeah, let them, because it's all about letting them do their own thing. It's not like, yeah, they can't just play until, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and then wake up whatever time they want. It's not about that, but it's about when they're experiencing those moments, down moments, for example, a hug can mean a lot. Just holding them in that space, acknowledging what they're going through, but telling them, I believe you have the ability to overcome this. And just saying those words means a lot. And I feel like as adults, even some days, like if someone just tell us that, well, you have the ability to overcome that. And just the belief can shift your day. So sometimes it's about reminding yourself, whatever you're going through, you have the ability to overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that's a great note to end this beautiful episode of sharing, the first one of 2025. And we are looking for more to come, and more sharing about our personal growth, and also about looking forward to hear from you. Like, how is your spiritual awakening journey?
Yeah.
What do you go through? And if any one of us can help you out with this part of the journey, and if not, we'll know someone who will help you out. So, for my part, thank you for listening, and thank you for tuning in again and coming back. We are looking forward to those type of conversation, and in any time like we get those messages coming through us. So we are really blessed. So thank you, Tina, for turning up. Like I know it's not been great in terms of the spiritual awakening, but you will get through this, and we both know that you will get through this. So thank you. Uh, it's been a pleasure to start the year with you, and I will leave you to say the last few words.
Thank you, good sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your most precious resource, which is your time. And we look forward to having you on the couch again next week for more enlightening conversations. And if you've got a topic that you would like us to explore or discuss in further detail, then please shoot us a note and let us know. And also, if you feel that someone in your inner circle could benefit from this conversation today, if you feel called, please share it with them, because we would love to help as many humans as we can on this journey. So until next week, take good care, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Ciao for now.
Thank you.